So, good morning or good afternoon. We are moving on for right now. What I want to focus on today is volume of cones, right? Like ice cream cones, or volume of pyramids. So, basically anything that comes to a point, right? Cones and pyramids both come to a point. What I mean by that is like this right here. So, if you remember on your welcome work, from last class, right? We talked about where that point is, where that vertex is at the top, and where that base was. Okay? So point and the base. So your IXL has been these formulas and they are posted, but I know that sometimes, if you don't have that experience with it yet, it is still difficult. So that's what we're working on today. These are the formulas. You have the area of the circle, right? So pi r squared, if you remember, that is area of a circle. That's your base. Okay? That's your base. You are taking pi r squared, area of a circle, which is your base, multiplying it by the height, right? Because now it's a 3D shape. So now there's a height. There's 3 numbers. And then we are going to also multiply by 1/3, or you could call that dividing by 3. Okay? So that's what I want you to keep in mind as we go through. You'll notice that all of these are the area of the base times height times 1/3. Okay? It just kind of gets a little funky when we get with triangles because they're a little bit funky. So the next one we're going to look at is the rectangular or square pyramids. So again, this is your base. And in order to find the base of a rectangle or triangle, you have to do length times width. That was what we focused on the other day when we were working with area. So this is area of rectangle, which is your base. Okay? You are multiplying that by the height because, again, it's a 3D shape, so there's another component. And then the last thing is multiply by 1/3, which is the same thing as dividing by 3. Okay? So, like I said, that base times height times 1/3, that's really all we're getting to. Now, pyramids is where it gets a little wonky. And apparently, my formula is on the next page, so there's that. But it's okay. I'm not going to get annoyed by it. So we have our base down here. Okay? Our base is down here. In order to find the area of a triangle, you have to do 1/2 times length times width. That is the area of a triangle, which is your base. Okay? Again, it's 3D, so we have to multiply by the height. But it's still a pyramid, so we have to multiply by 1/3. So all this or means is length times width times height. Then we can divide it by 3 and then divide that answer by 2. That would give us the same answer as if we did this. Okay? So I know it's a lot of formulas, but it's all good. We got this. So if you look at the next page, we're going to do some examples, and hopefully this will then start to make more sense, and those IXLs that you maybe have been struggling with, you'll be like, oh, that's so easy. So the formula for volume of a cone is 1/3 times pi times r squared times h. Okay? So here is the thing with circles if you don't remember from 7th grade or 6th grade. All the way across, and we talked about this the other day with a few of you when we were working on our crossword puzzles. All the way across is called the diameter. So if you looked at that first page, it said diameter divided by 2 gives us our radius. So we're going to take 12 and divide it by 2 to get our radius. So our radius equals 6. Okay? So right here where it says R, we're going to make that a 6. We're also going to plug in what we normally do for pi, which is 3.14, times 6 squared, times our height, which they gave us, which is 9. Okay? This 9 should be right here. They wanted us to do an extra step. Miss Davies telling you not to do it. Okay? So we're going to take this whole answer and we're going to divide it by 3. So this is where order of operations really comes into play. We need to do parentheses first. And inside those parentheses, we have a lot going on. So inside the parentheses, there's no more parentheses. So we are going to go to exponent. So there is an exponent. So I'm going to bring down my 3 and 1400ths. 6 squared is 36 times 9. And then because it is multiplication, we are just going to work left to right. So I'm going to take 3.14. I'm going to multiply it by 36 and get 11304 times 9. Divide that whole thing by 3. I get 1,017 and 3600ths. And I'm going to divide that by 3 and get 339 and 1200ths centimeters cubed. Okay? So again, anything that deals with circles sometimes can have that extra step, right? But it'll be okay. So now the next one, the good news is it's a square. These little sides mean that everything, all these are congruent. So all of these are 3. And this is a right angle. So in order to find our formula, we have length times width times height, and we are going to divide the whole thing by 3. So our length is 3, our width is 3, our height is 5. We are going to divide that whole thing by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, times 5, divided by 3. 9 times 5 is 45. Divide that bad boy by 3, and you end up with 15. So this is going to be 15 inches cubed. 15 inches cubed.